During the game. Whoever makes the adjustment battle will not guarantee to win the game, but it'll help your chances a lot if you're making the better side of adjustments. Arkansas's defense, though, face guarding opponents as normal. They've been prone to foul trouble and sending teams to the line at times this year. Arkansas has to avoid that. I'll talk more on JD here in a second, but he's been fouling out in some key games this year. You can't have that. And like I said, Gonzaga, they love getting really easy foul calls and baiting those type of calls. And they were able to do that in their last 2 NCAA tournament games because they got the other team's defenders in foul trouble. And when you're in foul trouble, you obviously can't guard at that, basically face guarding, bricks type up defense that Arkansas loves to run. On the defensive side for Arkansas, you'll have Jalen Williams, 6'10", 225, 1.1 blocks per game. You'll see him, like I said, Chet, Timme, 6'2", 190, JD Note, 2.3 steals per game. Very active, but you've seen that hurt him this season. And then you got Arkansas's best defender here, 6'6", Adise Toney. I thought he should have been on the All-SEC defensive team. He's really been able to limit stars, guard positions 1 through 4, and maybe some short centers, but not really that much. Toney doesn't foul that often. You don't see situations where he's picking up 2 early ones. He's going to be good for 40 minutes a game, and along with him is a Moody. Trey Wade could see some time here. I'm not a huge fan of his matchup. Trey Wade's been pretty consistent this season. When you look at the games when he's not put up that many minutes is because of just the matchups and such. Arkansas maybe wanted to play small, throw some different looks at some teams because that's what they did against New Mexico State. Off the bench, it's really important. Kamani Johnson, 6'7", he's going to be the big off the bench. And he's really tough. I mean, this is a guy who goes up for the boards despite him being 2 or 3 inches taller than the average center. So you'll see him get some playing time, I think, off the bench if some foul trouble starts up. I think you'll see some Chris Likes additionally because the inevitable JD Note foul trouble could possibly happen. And then Devo Davis always seems to play well when the lights shine in March. Arkansas on defense, though, adjust, stay out of foul trouble. Offensively, JD Note has been the Arkansas answer at the point guard position. Hogs struggled a lot earlier in the season with this position. JD Note has shown up to save the team big time, which is why you'll need a good 30-plus minutes out of him. 18.4 points per game and 3.6 assists per game. Great numbers for him there. Now, JD will have to break out of a little bit of a slump. Last few games, he shot 27.8% from the floor, 31.3% from the floor, 25% from the floor. He only shot 8 times versus Texas A&M. Versus LSU, shot 14 times, 28.6. Versus Tennessee, shot 20 times, 30%. Versus LSU, 12 times, 25%. He had that 30-point game versus Kentucky, and his field goal percentage hasn't really been the same since. But JD is going to get his shots up. That's just the way that this offense revolves around it. I mean, if Arkansas takes, let's say 60 to 80 field goals a game, I'm willing to bet that a solid number of those in the double-digit range from anywhere from like 12 to probably 18 or 19 are going to come from JD. That's just the style he plays and how this offense runs. Because if he gets going, who's going to beat Arkansas? But you've seen, Arkansas have been able to, beat Vermont and beat New Mexico State with him shooting 5 out of 18 versus New Mexico State and then 5 out of 16 versus Vermont. He's your volume shooter on this team, and every guy's going to have a role like that. Stanley Moody, though, I think can make a really good argument for being the best offensive player at this time in March. 12 points per game right now, highly efficient 3-level scorer. He's averaging 37.5% from the 3-point line this season, which is highest for Arkansas and the guys that are consistent versus Vermont, A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Kentucky, some of those games within the last month. Arkansas has relied on him, Moody. He shot, 3 field goals versus Vermont, 3 versus A&M, 3 versus Tennessee, 3 LSU, 3 Kentucky. And I'm talking 3-point field goals that are not off the floor. He's done fantastic. Jalen Williams, if he can really play his game offensively, work the post, if he has a field goal percentage that I think is above 50%, a 3-point field goal percentage that's above 30%, and I know he's not going to shoot volumely enough to get to that level, but obviously 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, or something similar to that, 1 out of 3 if he has a good 3-point range, that'd be nice too, opening it up some shots there. And then going to the free throw line, if he can get over that 70% mark, that'll be good. Those are a little bit more than his averages, but you've got to have good performances to beat a team like Gonzaga. Get to the line, though, and finish those shots, and especially playing against a guy like Chet Holmgren. Timme for Arkansas, athletic wing, scoring. You've seen this season, sometimes making those simple layups and dunks have been a struggle, so for Tony to be on top of those will be huge. Off the bench, I think you'll see Chris Likes. Obviously, JD is probably going to pick up an early foul, just based off trends, and I keep saying, JD stay out of foul trouble, but I think at this point you've got to limit your losses when JD's in foul trouble for Likes to be able to, for this Arkansas team, spread the ball around. I mean, obviously you're not going to run your offense through Likes like you do JD, but you can have Likes out there with a Moody and run some things through Moody, a lot of screens there. And then Moody's been seeing the floor really well this season too. I think against New Mexico State, he had 3 assists, and Arkansas only made 17 shots within that game. Versus Vermont, he had 3 assists, which is really good for a guy who's playing that point forward role. Devo Davis, he's always done good within March. For him to limit his turnovers, make good passes is huge. I mean, you've seen his creative playmaking ability when he threaded that needle versus New Mexico State. I think you'll see Kamani Johnson 6'7" forward when you get some foul trouble. I do think he does end up logging minutes in this one. I've seen a lot of talk about Vanover, and I wouldn't put it to rest that Eric Musselman would try something, for a little bit with Vanover. He started 25 out of 28 of the season's last game, but I just don't see it. He hasn't been playing since January. And you'll see that we get in these late games times where we put, bench guys in, and you'll see guys come off the bench, that are higher than him, I guess, in the pecking order of dudes to log the last few minutes. I doubt anything happens here, but I wouldn't put it to rest. You'll see Musselman create some really idealistic things for this Arkansas team.
It's time for Sam's prediction.
I've got Gonzaga winning this one, sadly, 81-75. I think Chet Holmgren and Drew Timme really controlled this game for Gonzaga. On the defensive side, for Chet, and the offensive side for Timme, I think Andrew Nembhard. I think at the end of the day, Gonzaga just has too many players for Arkansas to overcome. However, I do think Arkansas has a path to victory here. I feel better with their chances here than I felt with us playing Baylor last year. For Arkansas to win, I think they've got to get to an early lead. Obviously, this team is confident in what they're able to do this season, and they're confident that they can win this game. I mean, this is an Eric Musselman-led team here. We're talking about one of the best coaches in Arkansas history already. I mean, 2 Sweet 16s in the 2 years that the tournament has happened since he's been hired. High expectations. I'll talk about that more when the offseason turns around, but Arkansas getting to an early lead. You knock down some of those early shots and you got a lead, or you're playing with Gonzaga and you go, okay, we can really take down this number 1 overall team. Hustle up and down the court and play tough. That just comes down to physicality, staying out of foul trouble. The defense, though, can't rest, and it may have to when it comes into foul trouble. Arkansas, though, leave it all on the court. Regardless, win or lose, leave it out there, and if Arkansas wins this game, they'll face a Duke or Texas Tech team that is really, really good. For Arkansas, though, it comes down to hitting shots, and the NCAA tournament is going to have a little bit of luck. That's just the way it's always been. Musselman has talked about that. Get to the free throw line, though, for Arkansas. Hit your shots and hope some things turn your way, and you can walk out of Chase Center with a win, and then you'll be playing back there for a chance for a Final Four. Now, I'll be recapping this game. I'll probably have it out on Friday, and if Arkansas plays another game, I'll have a preview of that out additionally. So stay tuned for that one, but as always, woo pig suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hogs Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hogs Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hogs Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. and on YouTube at that same name. All ways to listen and our social media links are at linktr.ee/allhogsports. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!